Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and um, hi everyone. So inshallah today we're going to continue our discussion on early environmental science for children. All right. So the first one, introduction. Teaching science to young children, a process would include the act of doing and thinking, which is provide hands-on experiences on the phenomenon. So in order for us to teach science to young children, the process not only on thinking part, but it also on act of doing. We need to give hands-on experience. Apa maksud hands-on experience? Bagi dia pengalaman, bagi dia uh, experience untuk melakukan sendiri. Then they will learn better. Contoh, teach concept air by blowing the balloon. Ini salah satu contoh lah. So kita nak ajar sains. Kalau kita nak ajar tentang udara, dengan membuat satu simple eksperimen meniup balon. So apa yang kita perlu buat? Give them hands-on experience to feel the air. How? By blowing a balloon. That is example. So, in order for us to teach science to children, should be include thinking, of course, as well as doing. So that's number one. Number two, science for preschool teaching can be classified into two categories. Untuk prasekolah, for us to teach science, it should be fall under two categories. The first one is biological science, and secondly is physical science. Dia ada beza dia. So apa beza dia? What is the difference between biological science and physical science? Biological science include studying of living things. Kajian pembelajaran tentang benda-benda hidup. So apa saja yang hidup di muka bumi? Contohnya manusia, of course. Tumbuh-tumbuhan, animals. Itu adalah biological science. Selain daripada kajian tentang benda hidup, biological science juga study about physiology. Okay. Selain daripada physiology, a study of ecology. Jadi, when we talk about biological science, study of living things. Number 2 is a study of physiology. And number 3 is a study of ecology. Apa tu living things? Benda-benda hidup. Apa tu physiology? Deal with function of organism body part. Kajian tentang organ-organ dalaman badan. Contohnya jantung, respiratory system, digestive system. That is physiology. Ecology. What is a study of ecology? Means we study the relationship between living things and the environment. Kajian tentang benda-benda hidup dan hubungan kait dengan persekitaran, dia environment. So that is biological science. Secondly, physical science. What is physical science? Physical science relate to non-living things, which include physical, chemistry, meteorology, geology, and astronomy. So itu adalah kita panggil physical science. Biology come from the word bio. Bio ni benda hidup lah. Alright. Physical selain daripada benda hidup. Yang bukan benda hidup tu kita panggil physical science. Chemistry dia bukan benda hidup. Meteorology bukan benda hidup. Geology bukan hidup. Benda hidup ni benda yang bernyawa. Ada soul. Right? Okay. So that is classification of science. Alright. Next, preparation for preschool science teacher. Apakah persediaan yang perlu dilakukan oleh science teacher? Satu nanti akan ajar sains. So these are the thing that you need to know. Number one is display interest, mesti menunjukkan minat, barulah kanak-kanak akan minat. If you are not interested on science, how could you expect children would feel interested to learn science? So how to display interest? Number one, teacher need to display a lot of interest and curiosity in learning and teaching science. Cikgu mestilah tunjukkan minat dan curiosity, rasa nak belajar dan rasa nak mengajar subjek sains. Excitement tu kena ditonjolkan, mesti tunjuk. Number two, this interest and curiosity will help teacher to explore and study more about science and knowledge. Kalau cikgu sendiri rasa nak tahu, kenapa ya jadi macam ni? Kenapa hasilnya macam tu? Ada sifat curiosity, ingin tahu. Bila ada sifat ingin tahu, then this will push you to study more, untuk belajar lebih, untuk kaji lagi, untuk baca lagi. And number three, will be able to help children develop interest and curiosity in learning science. Bila cikgu ada curiosity, ada interest, so dia mempengaruhi kanak-kanak. Cikgu rasa curiosity, children pun akan rasa curiosity. Cikgu minat, kanak-kanak pun akan minat. Next, the children would be ready to emulate the teacher to be their role models. Of course, apa sahaja yang cikgu tonjolkan akan diikut oleh kanak-kanak. So, the main point here is display interest. Mesti display, bukan hide, bukan sorok-sorok, mesti tunjuk. Alright? Next, answer children's question. Belajar untuk menjawab persoalan-persoalan daripada kanak-kanak. So, bila kita belajar sains, we are learning to question. So, kita jangan salahkan kanak-kanak kalau banyak soal. Sebab itu adalah kesan daripada belajar sains. They learn to explore, they learn to ask, they want an answer. So, dalam sains, setiap persoalan ada explanation, ada kajian. Okay. Teacher is encouraged to be ready with any of children's questions. Cikgu kita bersedia. Apakah soalan-soalan yang bakal ditanya oleh kanak-kanak? Jadi, jangan risau. Soalan-soalan biasanya level children's. InsyaAllah, children's will be able to answer that. Next, the process of answering children's question would enrich their knowledge, increase their interest and awareness and understanding of the world in which they are living. So, dalam proses of answering ni akan mengembangkan lagi pengetahuan kanak-kanak. Tentang apa? Tentang kehidupan mereka. Next, it is encouraged to answer the children's question by asking them to explore, listen, read, observe, and include other processes skill. Macam mana nak menggalakkan kanak-kanak minat dengan sains adalah bila kita ajar mereka untuk explore, membaca, mendengar, memerhati. Itu adalah scientific way of learning science. Okay, methodologies in teaching science. Apakah kaedah, cara-cara untuk mengajar sains kepada kanak-kanak? Of course, kita kena ada scientific activities. Apa tu kajian-kajian sains? Kajian yang ada eksperimen. So, untuk children's, normally the experiment is simple experiment. Bukan sampai masuk dalam lab, Ada melibatkan pembakaran, menuang asid. That is not their level. Okay, so that is higher level. For children's, simple activity science, right? Next, apa lagi cara-cara untuk mengajar sains through art activities. Art tak semestinya untuk mengajar art saja. Art juga boleh digunakan dalam sains. Okay. Next is through musical activities. Kanak-kanak menggunakan deria pendengaran. How a different container, a different cup or different glass could produce a different sound. And that different sound can create a music. Itulah asalnya alat muzik. Dia ada a different note. Ada note rendah, note sederhana, note tinggi. So menghasilkan bunyi yang berbeza-beza. Contoh gitar ataupun piano ataupun violin, semua ada note rendah hingga note tinggi. So seperti contoh air. Kalau kita isikan air, we pour a little of water, it will produce loud sound. And then we add more water, so the sound will be different. We add another water, the sound would be different. So which one is louder out of these container? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one give a louder sound? So we can make experiment, right? And we can juggle between all the sounds. It doesn't necessarily we have to start from first, go towards the end. We can start also from the middle, here, change here. So they would experiment. Oh, that's a different sound. That interesting music, and they will play with that. Okay, so they could lead them to produce a new instrument in the future, or they able to create instrument by themselves. And then what else? The method to teach science: spontaneous learning experiment. Spontaneous, spontan, right? Pembelajaran yang spontan, pengalaman yang spontan. So bila spontan, dia excitement, seronok. Wah, tiba-tiba buat. Okay? Jadi spontaneous experiment could happen in study science. Next is science corner. Dengan mewujudkan sudut-sudut sains, ruang-ruang sains, akan memberi minat, menyuntik, stimulate interest for the children to know more about science. Okay, jangan jadikan sains ni satu subjek yang lame, yang boring. So it could be interesting dengan wujudnya science corner. Kemudian field trip. Field trip boleh pergi ke tempat-tempat contohnya dekat kawasan. Kau nak buat kajian tentang burung, pergilah taman burung. Kau nak buat kajian tentang serangga, pergilah dekat taman serangga. Ataupun nak buat kajian tentang alam persekitaran, cahaya matahari, you can bring to play park, to garden, to the field. So this is among method that you can do. Another is science workshop. Also is a good method for children to come up with their own innovative idea. And then experiment and observation. Buat eksperimen, walaupun eksperimen simple je, sediakan dia punya instrumen ataupun alat bantu. pakai goggle, kan excited. Siap pakai jacket macam scientist. Feeling dia lain. Alright? So actually all these things can help children to have interest, to know more, to feel excited, to feel happy learning science. Okay, next, how to teach science effectively. Macam mana nak mengajar secara efektif? Number one, time, masa. Create enough time. Mestilah ada masa yang cukup untuk explore and discover. So means we need to create time, allocate time. Must be based on children's age, because different age of children will have a different attention span. Mesti sesuai dengan umur. So time dekat sini maksudnya number one, dari segi allocation masa mesti cukup. Tak boleh lah nak buat eksperimen 5 minit. Kalau 5 minit, kena sesuaikan eksperimen apa yang simple yang boleh disiapkan dalam tempoh 5 minit. Kemudian it should be based on age. Mesti mengikut kesesuaian umur, because different children's kemampuan dia untuk fokus dan kemampuan untuk faham berbeza. Jadi cikgu kena sesuaikan. Number 2, teacher knowledge and preparation. Cikgu perlulah bersedia dengan ilmu yang sepatutnya according to the level of children's. Untuk ajar prasekolah tak perlulah sampai knowledge yang terlalu tinggi, level master ke, tak perlu. Alright, cukup untuk kefahaman kanak-kanak tentang sains. So dia boleh dilakukan dengan readings, kajian, simple experiment. Alright, next is honesty, kejujuran. Teacher need to be honest with their own level of knowledge. Don't lie. Kita jangan tipu lah kanak-kanak. Nanti kalau tipu, kita akan trap, kita akan terjerat dengan penipuan kita. Sebab children dia akan ingat. If last month we give a wrong answer, this month they will remember that wrong answer, and then they will question back to you. So at the end you will be in trouble. So if you are not sure, just be honest with them. Okay, teacher will find out the answer later on. As for now, teacher are not sure. Teacher have to confirm. Teacher have to check first. Okay, kita buat gitu dengan cara yang baik. Next is teacher interest. So must have interest in learning and teaching science. Cikgu kena minat sains. Kalau tak minat sains, nak ajar sains macam mana? Tapi kalau terpaksa juga, cikgu kena create interest. Ada banyak cara untuk mendatangkan minat. Percayalah. It's just that you are not finding the right way to make it interesting. It can encourage teacher to learn more and develop children interest. So bila cikgu minat, so automatically children akan terpengaruh. Next, teacher's perspective. How to teach science effectively? Cikgu mesti ada perspektif yang betul. Apa tu perspektif betul? Teacher need to value their own opportunity to interpret and question from their own perspective interests. Example, to include Islamic perspective in explaining day and night phenomenon. Cikgu mesti mampu untuk menerangkan dengan gaya pemahaman cara cikgu sendiri. Right? Sometimes you need to be creative, explaining science with your own understanding. Sometimes by following 100% from books, you're unable to transfer that understanding to the children's perfectly. So sometimes you need to use your own way, cara you sendiri untuk explain. That is note taking. You need to demonstrate to children on how to record observation. So bila kita buat sains, kita bukan sembang saja, bercerita saja. Normally kita akan ada note taking. Ajar tentang menyimpan data, menulis data. Data tak mestinya sesuatu yang mesti yang besar, yang big. Contohnya mengukur panjang daun. Ambil berbaris, ukur, lepas tu catatkan. So itulah kita panggil note taking. That is also we call it collecting a data. Mengambil panjang daun, mengambil panjang ranting kayu. Itulah simple note taking. So that is we call it a record of observation. Rekodkan tinggi kawan, rekodkan berat kawan. That is record observation. Writing down what is observed and remembered enhance learning. Okay. So basically it's about note taking, catatan. And then next is resources, sumber. Teacher need to provide materials and supply for science exploration. Mestilah ada alat bantu mengajar, ada sumber. Okay, later on, teacher also will learn how to come up with the teaching materials. Alright, learning materials. For teachers, we call it teaching materials. For children, we call it learning materials. Why? Because for them to learn. Teaching materials for teachers to teach. The next one is integrated. Integrated is science should be integrated across school curriculum and should be part of the child daily experience. Integrated means dia mesti, yang bagusnya adalah dia connected, dia ada relationship, ada hubungan berkaitan dengan kurikulum sekolah, berkaitan dengan subjek-subjek lain, barulah kefahaman tu bertambah. Cikgu boleh integrate sains dengan subjek muzik. Cikgu boleh integrate sains dengan subjek matematik. Cikgu boleh integrate sains dengan English language, for example. Dan cikgu boleh integrate sains dengan daily experience. Dengan pengalaman daily rutin, kanak-kanak boleh aplikasikan sains. That is very good. Alright, next is creative. So, bukan art saja kena kreatif, sains pun kena kreatif. Teacher have to be very creative, alert and aware of opportunity to integrate suitable activities for the children's daily experience. Nak ajar sains dia tak boleh statik saja. So ajar apa pun, creativity perlu supaya children's boleh fokus. Alright. And then students need to be encouraged to be curious and explore, to discover answer and to be able to build a new understanding. So kita kena memberi galakan pada children's. Kalau dia tak minat, kita kena timbulkan minat. Kalau dia tak nak tahu, kita kena create curiosity, kena bagi dia rasa nak tahu. So itulah kegunaan ataupun function cikgu. Alright. So itu adalah contoh-contoh how to teach science effectively. Alright. Kita discuss antaranya adalah kena creative, and then kena integrated, mesti ada connection dengan subjek lain dengan kurikulum sekolah. Resources, sumber yang menarik, cikgu kena sediakan sumber, alat bantu mengajar, alat bantu pembelajaran, dan ajar kanak-kanak untuk mengambil nota, menulis data. And then teacher's perspective, teacher mestilah minat, right? And then seterusnya teacher interest. Ni minat teacher tadi, perspektif. Apakah perspektif guru-guru dalam memberi penerangan tentang sains? Honesty, cikgu kena jujur, right? Sebab childrens are this is value in teaching. So honesty not only in science, in other field of subject, honesty need to be applied and practiced. And then teacher knowledge and preparation, cikgu mesti dah bersedia dengan maklumat sebelum mengajar, and time. Mesti sediakan masa yang secukupnya untuk buat eksperimen ataupun hands-on experience. And then children also need to be teach or give activity accordingly, mengikut tahap umur. Barulah fokus akan berkesan. Okay, so that is example of how to teach science effectively. Okay, so basically that is the way how to teach or expose early science for early childhood. So I think that's all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.